Hello everyone, in this video we're going to figure out how to find the slope from 2 points. So remember that our definition of slope is a change in y over the change in x. So let's go over our first example problem. I want to find the slope between these 2 points, between 3, 8 and 5, 11. So there's a couple different ways to find the slope between 2 points, and the first way I'm going to show you is by making a table. So I'm going to set up my xy table to find the slope. So x comma y. And so using my first point, 3, 8, that's going to go on my table like this, 3, 8. And then I want to put the points 5, 11 into my table. So 5, 11. Now let's find my change in y. Again, I'm going to use the color red for my change in y. And my y values are down here in my table. So comparing 8 and 11, starting at 8 and moving up to 11, I know my values are increasing. So that's going to be a change of plus 3. So my change in y is going to be 3. Now taking a look at my x values, change in x, I know in my table the x's are up here in the top row, and I'm comparing 3 and 5. So starting at 3 and moving up to 5, I know my values are getting bigger, I'm adding, and from 3 to 5 that's a change of plus 2. So I know the slope from these 2 points is going to be 3 over 2. Okay, let's take a look at our second problem. I'm going to show you guys another way of finding the slope. So if I want to find the slope of these 2 points, another way of doing it would be to make a graph. So I'm going to set up my xy table, or my xy coordinates. So the up and down axis, this is y, and the left and right axis is x. I'm going to plot both of these points. So negative 2, negative 3. Let's see. If x is negative, I'm moving to the left. And if y is negative, I'm moving down. So that's going to be somewhere around right here. Negative 2, negative 3. Okay. Now let's plot this point over here. 3, 3. If x is positive, I'm moving to the right 3. And if y is positive, I'm moving up 3. So it's probably going to be somewhere right here. 3, 3. Now I need to find my change in y. Again, you might have heard the change in y as the rise in my graph. So if going from this point and rising up, what would be my change in y going to be? I'm starting at negative 3 and going up to positive 3. That's going to be a change of 6. So plus 6. Now let's find my change in x. You also might have heard the change in x as the run, or the left and right change. So moving to the right, I'm starting at negative 2 and going up to positive 3. So I know my values are increasing. And from negative 2 to 3, that's a change of 5. So the slope of these 2 points is going to be 6 over 5. So instead of making a table and a graph, there's actually another way of finding slope. And this is my preferred way of finding slope between 2 points. So again, our definition of slope is finding the change in y over the change in x. So if we want to find the slope between these 2 points, what I'm really doing is I'm comparing the x values and the y values. So when I have a pair of coordinate points, do you guys know which of those points is the x value and which point's the y value? Well, the number in front, that's going to be our x value, and the number in the back, that's going to be our y value. So if I want to find my change in y, what I'm really doing is I'm just comparing my 2 y values. So starting at 8 and going down to 6, I know my numbers are getting smaller, so I'm subtracting. And 8 minus 2, that's going to give me the 6. So I know my change in y is going to be minus 2. Okay, let's go over my change in x. So I'm comparing the 7 and the 10. Starting at 7 and going up to 10, I know my values are increasing. And from 7 to 10, that's a change of plus 3. So I know that the slope of these 2 points is going to be negative 2 over 3. Let's see this method one more time in this last example problem. I want to find the slope of these 2 points here. So again, when I have a pair of coordinate points, the number in front, that's going to be my x value. So these are my x's. And I know the number in the back, those are going to be my y values. So these are my y's. So comparing my x comma y. Again, every time we write a coordinate point, we always write it as x comma y. So let's take a look at our y values. Negative 5 to negative 1. I know that on the graph, negative 5 is all the way down here, and I'm moving up to negative 1. So I know that my values are getting bigger. So from -5 to -1, that's going to be a change of +4. Okay. Now let's take a look at our change in x. Let's compare the numbers in front. I'm comparing the -4 and the -7. -4 is going to be somewhere down here, and -7 is going to be further down. So since I'm moving further down, I know that's going to be subtracting. So from -4 to -7, I'm going to be subtracting 3. So this is going to be a slope of -4 over -3. Okay. So one thing I want you guys to keep track of. So when I make this table, do you see those two arrows that I drew? Those arrows are the same as these arrows on my graph, the ones I used to make the triangle. And those arrows are the same as these arrows when I compare the x and y from 2 points. So again, these arrows are the same as those arrows and the same as those arrows. Okay? We're all doing the same thing, whether we find the slope from a table, a graph, or 2 points. So again, when we're finding the slope from 2 points, we're just comparing the y values, and then we're comparing the x values.